YouTube friends and family, welcome to another edition of the Carolina Sports Guy. Today's episode, we're going to have a recap. We're going to go back and look, let the dust settle a little bit, and go back and look at this 2021 NFL Draft. Scott Fitterer, general manager, took 6 or 7 draft picks we had because it's kind of bounced up and down with the trade for Darnold and other people. But he ended up turning that magical number into 11. We're going to go over some of the things I love about the draft, some of the things I'll hold out on, a couple things that I wish were a little different. Can't be perfect. Man knows what he's doing his job. I'm just a fan. Got my opinion though. So sit back, relax. What I want you to do before we get into today's content, I want you to subscribe to this channel. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and I'll keep putting out more content about the Panthers, the Hornets, and the Hurricanes. If there's anything you would like, just put in the comments, and maybe I can do a little bit of research and put my spin and my opinion on whatever it is that you'd like to talk about. But please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell notification to be notified of more videos just like the one you're getting ready to see. All right, Panther fans. We're in Carolina North, Carolina South. We're one Carolina. So let's talk about these Carolina Panthers here. All right, the first round pick, folks. J.C. Horn, number 1, going at the pick number 8. I heard we screwed the Saints over for this, which is great. I really don't see it that much that the Saints got screwed over. I know they wanted him. I don't know if J.C. Horn might have fallen if we didn't take him at 8. Maybe he could have went to 12. Maybe they would have traded up then. I'm glad we got him. We needed a shutdown corner. And I'm kind of looking forward to see what he has to offer. That was a position of need. The only disappointing thing I would say in the first round, a lot of people say, okay, you passed on Justin Fields, it might come back and bite you on the butt. And you know, maybe it will. I think it was still the right decision. If we would have drafted Fields, it still would have left glaring weaknesses at different positions, and we would have had to develop him. I don't know what kind of message you would have sent to Sam Darnold, and with Bridgewater already out the door. You know, this organization's got to look at things. Looking back in hindsight, the way Cam was let go, it was the wrong thing to do. Not saying it wasn't time to get rid of him, but just the way it happened. And then when Bridgewater being brought in for this bridge, and we burnt that bridge quick, and it doesn't look good on the organization. I don't think it would have looked good if we'd have done Darnold, not given him the opportunity. Now, if he sucks and looks bad, we can eat him for one more year and then boom, move on to somebody else. Hopefully, we'll have a better performance out of him than we did this past year with Bridgewater. But getting back to the draft, J.C. Horn, the 8th pick. What I wanted to say was, all right, if we'd have drafted Justin Fields, some people think we should have done that. That could come back and bite us in the butt. I don't think it will. The one player I really just regret that we didn't draft, but he wasn't there, was when the Detroit Lions at pick number 7 took Penei Sewell, the big left tackle from Oregon. That's who I really had penciled in. And I'm not saying J.C. Horn's not going to be a great starter for the Panthers, and hopefully he will. I just saw Sewell protecting whatever quarterback we had on that left side for years to come. And we just missed him by a pick. That's my biggest regret. Without having to give up a lot of draft capital, I just don't know, you know, what else could you have done by staying where we did? All we knew at one point in a lot of mock drafts, they had Detroit taking the first defensive player off the board. So there was a small chance that Sewell could have failed to us, and he didn't. The other thing is, by taking J.C. Horn at number 8, could we have traded down and gotten him in a couple picks later? I don't know. You know, Denver at number 9, I took the corner out of Alabama, and a lot of people had him penciled to us, and we didn't, you know, go for that. But at pick number 23, the Minnesota Vikings took a left tackle from Virginia Tech, Christian Darrisaw. Many people think we could have traded down, got some more picks, and maybe got Darrisaw as a left tackle. I don't know if the drop-off, the organization might have felt it was too much of a drop-off, and that we really needed to get a perennial starter, and J.C. Horn was that. Remember, of all the defensive players on the board, we not only got a position of need, we got who we thought was the best defensive player on the board. So I can't go wrong with this pick, and I approve of our first-round pick. The second round is where we get into a little bit of haggling. We're sitting there at pick number 39. We could have had a left tackle in Liam Eichenberg, who I see more as a right tackle from Notre Dame. But he was on the board. Talking about putting Ritchie Grant, the free safety from UCF. He was on the board. We could have really solidified our back end and our defense. Trevor Moore, the safety from TCU, was on the board. But we ended up trading down 20 picks to 59, which was good because we picked up another third rounder. And we picked Terrace Marshall Jr., who I never had going to us. I had other receivers being mocked ahead of him for the Panthers. The interesting thing about it, though, if he is healthy, if we get along and maintain with him, he can be explosive. And, of course, Joe Brady coached him at LSU for that one magical year that they had together. The thing I like about the Marshall pick, though, it looks like New Orleans was going to take him at number 60. Now, they got Pete Werner, their linebacker from Ohio State, somebody they needed. But it will be interesting and love it to death if this is truly the case that we drafted a player that we needed another receiver with Colonel Samuel leaving, and we picked one that the Saints were going to grab at the very next pick. I love seeing Sean Payton get his panties in a bunch. Now, because of this process, we go through, we pick up a second, third round pick. Now, we had originally dropped down in the third round and kept moving around a little bit to 73. Now, the rumor has it that we had Brady Christensen on our board, and we're going to draft him as our left tackle, or at least playing anywhere on the line for the Panthers at pick 73. In the second round, I'm sorry. When we traded from 39 to 59. But Terrace Marshall Jr., who we thought was going to be gone, was still on the board, and the value was too great to get up. So we rolled the dice hoping that Christensen would be there in the third. We ended up having to trade back with Philly, giving up some draft capital, which we were acquiring plenty of it during this draft. Traded up from 73 to 70 with Philly, and ended up taking Brady Christensen. So if we got Christensen in the third round at pick 73, and didn't have to draft him in the second, which we were really going to do, and get a receiver the Saints coveted that we definitely can use and is going to replace Curtis Samuel, then that's a win-win situation in my opinion. So you can't go wrong there. Now, where I have an issue is where we come up here. Our second, third round pick number 83. And this is where I differ with the Panthers. I'm excited about Tommy Tremble, the tight end / halfback / special teams ace that we're getting from Notre Dame. I think he's going to be a very good player. I really see he could be a future star in the making at tight end. The problem I had with this, I really feel we might have been able to get him in the fourth round. I could be wrong, and I'll get into that in a minute. But in the third round, we had the guard from Ohio State, Wyatt Davis, sitting there. Folks, Wyatt Davis, in my opinion, is going to be a Pro Bowler for many years to come. And the Vikings grabbed him at 86. I think we're going to regret that because I really think we could have got Tremble in the fourth. Ben Cleveland, if you didn't like Wyatt Davis, even if you traded down a few more picks, acquire something else. He was there from the University of Georgia. He went to Baltimore. Baltimore drafts offensive linemen. They've done it many years. And here's another pick. I think Ben Cleveland is going to be a great road grader for the Ravens. And even at pick 94, Quinn Miners from Wisconsin-Whitewater can play guard and center. I wouldn't have minded dropping back and gotten him. And, of course, the Denver Broncos got him. And to me, they would have all three, from Davis to Ben Cleveland to Miners, whatever, would have all been better picks than Tommy Tremble at this point. Now, saying this, we get to the fourth round where I think Tommy Tremble would have been a better option. Washington did take a pick at number 124, a tight end, the Bates kid. Maybe they would have taken Tommy Tremble instead of Bates. But maybe we could have taken our 126 with staying where we were. We could have traded up a few picks and we could have got Tremble. Or maybe another team would have even drafted him before then because he was on the board. Maybe that kind of ruined their tight end board. I don't know. Chuba Hubbard, I like the running back. If Christian McCaffrey goes down, I think the guy can be a star. Like if he went down like last year. But if McCaffrey, take away last year, has a kind of season that he's had prior, and he's got to be on the field because he's a threat in the backfield, on the edge, in the slot, wherever. Receiving the ball, running the ball, even passing the ball if we had to. Chuba Hubbard's not going to get a lot of playing time. And the 4th round pick here, Tremble would have been on the board where he picked the guard in the 3rd. To me, would have been a bigger win-win. But to regress, we picked Chuba Hubbard. Great depth now at running back. If we can utilize him, if we can get him at least 10 touches a game, I'll be satisfied, especially if there's production there. It will let us rest McCaffrey if we got some wins and some big blowout leads, or if he gets nicked up, and we could put another running back in the game. So I think we're set here. Now we get to the 5th round. Defensive tackle wasn't my biggest need I think we had at this point in time. But Daviyon Nixon from Iowa was on the board. A lot of people think he really was one of the best defensive tackles in this draft, and we got a good one. I can't complain about the pick. I mean, we could have used more O-line depth at this point, which we'll get later. We could have definitely used a free safety. But I'm not going to be upset with this defensive tackle pick here. But Shaun Wade, the corner/safety, was on the board from Ohio State. Of course, Baltimore knows how to draft, and they drafted him later in that round, in the 5th round. Now, the pick I'm excited about in the 5th round, later in the 5th, pick 166, we picked Keith Taylor, the cornerback from Washington. I love this pick. To double dip at corner in this draft was excellent. Great. I love it. I just wish we'd have drafted a free safety. But I love this pick, and I don't believe he's going to be converted to safety. This pick can be gold. If he comes in during a nickel situation, or he can come in if we don't re-sign if we don't re-sign, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank right now. If we don't re-sign our corner, I'm not going to mention his name right now, and I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. I'm just having a brain fart. If we don't re-sign our man, Jackson, we're going to be able to bring this kid along with J.C. Horn. Our secondary solidified. If these two guys work out, that's a win-win. And especially if you've got Jeremy Chin back there as a strong safety, playing a little linebacker. I think we're really looking pretty good in that situation. Moving on. 6th round, we've acquired 3 picks. I like these picks for depth. Pick number 193, pick up the massive offensive guard from Alabama, Deontay Brown. I really like Ben Cleveland better. I really like Quinn Meinerz better. I really like Wyatt Davis better. Of course, they all 3 went in the 3rd. But Deontay Brown at one time was rated in the 3rd round. Some people had to go in the 4th. I was shocked. I hadn't seen draft boards where he fell any further than the 5th. So to grab him in the 6th, if we can keep his weight down and he can stay healthy, I don't know about pass protection or getting down the field, but how many times did Christian McCaffrey get stonewalled in the backfield on a needed 1 yard for a touchdown or a first down? You run behind this guy, it's going to be hard to move that man. We should be able to pick up these first downs and touchdowns now. So I like the Deontay Brown pick. Next, we picked up another wide receiver, Shi Smith from South Carolina. 2nd player from South Carolina, folks. Still have never drafted a player from Clemson. Interesting. But we double dipped here at wide receiver just like we double dipped at corner. I like it because when we lost Curtis Samuel, a great player, a lot of respect, we weren't going to pay him the money that Washington did. Bringing in Terrace Marshall Jr. along slowly, bringing in Shi Smith who can also return kicks, we might have really done ourselves well here. 2 receivers who can take Curtis Samuel's spot. And I don't know if we'll get the production that we have with Curtis, but they're young and learning and can go. Plus the fact Robbie Anderson might not be back after this year, and we do have to extend DJ Moore. So it's pretty smart drafting a Federer to pick this guy up. And we got a guy, like I said, return kicks. This could be a win-win for us in many ways. Now the last pick in the 6th round, people have given a lot of shit for. Taking a long snapper out of Alabama, Thomas Fletcher. And if you haven't gone to YouTube and seen the video where Matt Rule called him on the phone and congratulated him, and the guy thought, I'm getting ready to pack my bags and go somewhere, the best team that offers me a free agent contract, couldn't believe he got drafted. I think it's a beautiful story. Now, J.J. Jensen's been great for many years, and I'm not going to get into it, but if Jensen would have played this whole year, and I'm not saying Jensen's going to be ruled out, Fletcher doesn't show up in camp as a 6th round pick, or he gets hurt, Jensen's still there, we got to have a long snapper. Jensen's old in the tooth, though, and I know he needed to play all of this year and come back one more year and play like 8 or 9 games, and he would have played in the most games ever for a Panther, surpassing John Kasay, the former kicker. But the writing could be on the wall for J.J. Jensen. Thomas Fletcher picking a long snapper. They're hard to find. You don't want to hear them. So you don't really you want Fletcher to make the team, but you don't want to hear his name called. Okay? Unless you hear that he's a long snapper at the Pro Bowl. Because other than going down and making some special teams tackles, his main job is getting the ball to the punter or to the kicker and making sure it's not bobbled and stuff like that. It's a very, very important role. So I can't blame the Panthers for picking him if they think it was time, if they found one to move on from. But looking on the board, 224, we could have had Jacoby Stevens 2 picks later. Played safety, LSU, can play some nickel. It might have been a mistake. 226, the offensive guard, Trey Smith, who had some injuries from Tennessee, was drafted by Kansas City. I think he's going to shine for the Chiefs. I think that was a great pick. And I kind of wanted him, and like I said, there's some injuries. But just to let you know, if you thought that Thomas Fletcher was a mistake taking it at 222, just remember the Washington football team, 3 picks after our pick, ended up taking Cheeseman, the long snapper from Michigan. So if we don't draft Thomas Fletcher, the former Skins, the football team probably does. He might not make it to being an undrafted free agent. Even if we tried to get him in the 7th round, he might have been gone. Now, the 7th round pick is really the one I'm going to complain about the most. That's not to say I'm not rooting for defensive tackle from Kentucky, pick number 232, Phil Hoskins. I just felt like, there was other offensive linemen on the board that we could have chosen. And we're going to address it in the free agent picks. But I just really wanted a free safety. James Wiggins, the safety from Cincinnati, was still on the board at pick 243. He went to Arizona. I would have been ecstatic with that pick. Trill Williams, who didn't get drafted, goes to New Orleans. He could play safety and corner from Syracuse. Paris Ford, who I would have been ecstatic. I would have loved in the 7th round if it had said, in the 7th round, the Carolina's pick, Paris Ford, safety from Pittsburgh. I would have thought, man, we have answered and addressed every position in this draft. Other than quarterback, which I'm fine because Darnold was like a draft pick. I would have really been happy if we would have done this. But we didn't. And the 2 glaring positions I saw the most that we didn't address going into the undrafted free agents was offensive line depth and a free safety. We picked up in undrafted picks, offensive guard / center from Grambling. We picked up David Moore. And we had a David Moore receiver, DJ Moore wide receiver, and a David Moore now. And I think he's going to make the team. And I think maybe even before the season's over, he might start. Some people had David Moore going as high as, late 3rd, early 4th round, but at least being drafted by the 6th. So if we'd have picked David Moore in the 7th, I'd have been happy with the depth that we would have picked up offensive line. So to give him as an undrafted free agent, it's like Andrew Norwell. I just thought we had the same production as we got from Norwell. It'd be a great pick. The other pick, the one other position that we did not draft was linebacker. And it didn't become as glaring of a need with some of the people we picked up in free agency and what we had. Paddy Fisher, the linebacker from Northwestern. Many people had him as a 4th round pick. I saw him going in 5th, 6th round. If we'd have drafted him in the 7th, I'd have been ecstatic. Now, I don't know if he'll make the team. I think there's a good chance that he might be able to stick as a special teamer's backup linebacker, and we'll see what we get. But if we'd have got him in the 6th or 7th round, I'd have been fine. So to get him as an undrafted free agent, I'm happy with the linebacker pick we got in Paddy Fisher from Northwestern. Great pick. But still, we never addressed the free safety pick again. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell notification to get more content like this. Tell me what you thought. What was the thing you liked about the 2021 NFL Draft for the Panthers? What thing that you're on the fence about, want to have a wait-and-see attitude? What thing did we not do that really pissed you off? Overall, I give this draft an A-, B+ at worst, but I'll say A-. Free safety would have given me an A. Or a couple other little adjustments. But anyway, we'll tune in next time. We'll catch another episode of the Carolina Sports Guy.